everyone. Welcome to Youth Sunday. My name is Davis. I have been doing a series of videos with the Grace Youth this past school year at the request of my old friend, Mr. Jerry Fish. He tapped me to do basically what would be the equivalent of an advanced placement driver's education series of videos, because I'm a world-class driving expert. So I was kind of sharing my wisdom and expertise with the Grace Youth this past school year, and it was a lot of fun. So thanks again for having me for that, you guys. And Mr. Jerry also asked me to do the announcement video this morning. So let's get right to those announcements for this week. The gift-a-gallon bags for Raise the Roof Academy are due next Sunday, and you can get more information on that or turn in your bags at the helping desk. This coming Wednesday, we'll be having a year-end celebration to celebrate a great school year of midweek programming and also to get ready for the summer. Don't forget about the music of the 60s and 70s concert tonight at 6 p.m. in the sanctuary. During that, there will be an offering collected to benefit Restoration Point. Also, lastly here, be sure to sign the registration pad on your row. You can pass it down and then back up and see who is sharing a row with you if you don't know them already. All right, and that's it, everybody. Thanks a lot. Have a great Youth Sunday. Take it away, Jason.
All right, take it away, Jason. That's all for now. Take it away, Jason.
Thanks so much, guys. Take it away, Jason.
All right. Hello, everyone. So this is Sunday, and what we're going to do to simulate some of what we do on Wednesday nights is we're going to play a game. Are y'all ready to play a game? Can I get a little bit more enthusiasm than that? All right, excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split y'all into two teams. So your team over here and your team over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask for a volunteer from each side. Can I get a volunteer from each side? You want to come, Robbie? Volunteer over here? Hudson, you want to be the volunteer? Yeah, Hudson. All right. We got Robbie and we got Hudson. So what's going to happen is we're going to play Name That Sound. A sound is going to play, and y'all are going to be the voice of your side, okay? So the sound is going to play, and you're going to hear the sound, and everybody over here, your team one, you're going to yell out what you think the sound is to help Robbie make a decision, okay? And he's going to make the final decision. And y'all are going to do the same. And Hudson's going to make this decision, all right? So now, when you get it correct, when Robbie gets it correct, you're going to make a joyful noise. Can I hear what a joyful noise sounds like over here? All right. Can I hear an even better joyful noise over here? All right. So now, if you happen to get it wrong, Robbie or Hudson, I need to hear kind of a sad noise. Can I hear a sad noise over here? Oh. Can I hear a sad noise over here? All right. So those are the rules. We're going to start with this side, and then we're going to go to this side. So can I hear the first noise, please? All right. Yell it out. What do you think it is? All right, Robbie. Final answer.
Chicken.
Chicken. Is it a chicken, everyone? Oh. Woo. All right. Are we ready over here? What is this? Y'all shouldn't play if you know the answers. Let's hear it. What do you think it is?
Sprinkler.
Sprinkler. Is that a sprinkler? All right. Is it a sprinkler? There we go. It's a sprinkler. Cheer. Cheer, everyone. Cheer. Excellent. Perfect. Okay. So we are 1-1. What is that noise? Yell it out. What do you think? What do you think?
Microwave.
Is it a microwave? It's a microwave. Cheer, cheer, everyone. Woo! Good job, Robbie. Yeah. On fire. We're 2-1. Oh, what's this? What is it? Yell it out. Yell it so Hudson can hear. Oh, what you think? Is it a lightsaber? It is a lightsaber. Cheer. Yeah. Good job, Hudson. Good job. All right. And our next one is... All right. Robbie, what do you think?
Okay, fine. It's a dog.
Is it a dog? Is it a dog? It's a dog. It is a dog eating a bone. Good job, Robbie. Woo! I believe we're at 3-2. Okay. Okay. Fast round. What do you think this is? Is it a whale? It's a whale. All right. Great job. We are 3-3. What is that? Yell it out. What are your guesses? Is it popcorn?
Popcorn popping.
Is it popcorn popping? Oh, it's street hockey. Oh. Street hockey. We are still 3-3. What is it? What do you think? Is it a 2-year-old singing? It's a dog crying. Oh. I like your answer better, though. We're at number 9.
A fire truck.
Is it a fire truck? It's a bullfrog.
Bullfrog.
We're still tied up. Do we have one more? We're done. We tied.
Bullfrog.
Thank you for playing our game today, Hudson. You are a winner. Robbie, you are a winner. Make a joyful noise. Cheer. Y'all just got to play a game on Sunday. Yeah.
Please stand. God, I'm running for your heart. I'm running for your heart. Still I am a soul on fire, Lord. I'm longing for your ways. I'm waiting for the day when I am a soul on fire. Till I am a soul on fire. what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. And I've seen many searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers only you provide, because you know just what we need before we say a word. You're good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. And you're perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. It's true. Love so undeniable, I can hardly speak. Peace so unexplainable, I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still into love. Love, love, you're good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am.
At this time, kids between 3 and 5 years old are invited to go to Prayful Plays, and kids in kindergarten through 5th grade are invited to go to children's church. Kids of all ages are also welcome to stay in the sanctuary if they would prefer. Our scripture this morning is Romans 1:8 through 15. I will be reading from the Message. I thank God through Jesus for every one of you. That's first. People everywhere keep telling me about your lives of faith, and every time I hear them, I thank Him. and God, whom I so love to worship and serve by him, by spreading the good news of his Son, the message. Know that every time I think of you in my prayers, which is practically all the time, I ask him to clear the way for me to come and see you. The longer this waiting goes on, the deeper the ache. I want to be there to deliver God's gift in person and watch you grow stronger right before my eyes. But don't think I'm not expecting to get something out of this, too. You have as much to give me as I do to you. Please don't misinterpret my failure to visit you, friends. You have no idea how many times I've made plans for Rome. I've been determined to get some personal enjoyment out of God's work among you, as I have in many other non-Jewish towns and communities, but something has also come up and prevented it. Everyone I meet, it matters little whether they're mannered or rude, smart or simple, deepens my sense of interpretance and obligation, and that's why I can't wait to get to you in Rome, preaching this wonderful good news of God.
Bring it up hard and bring it down fast.
Hard and fast. Let's go, boy.
Well, fall, you gotta stay on your feet. Come on.
Phoenix, go straight through. Back up.
Make it fight, it's a good one. Now hit it hard. Hit it with the heel.
Come on, Phoenix.
Hit it with the heel. You're not listening. Hit it with the heel. Yes, you can do it. Come on. Yes, you can do it, but you gotta do it with me. Look at me. You have to hit it hard, though. You cannot hit it light. You have to hit it hard. Go. That's not hard. You touch it. Hold it.
Today. There I am. A little too much of me. So anybody see that video this week? It went viral this week. I just thought it was a cool video to bring into today because we're talking about positive relationships, and it's Youth Sunday. So we don't normally play a game. If you're a guest with us, we don't normally have a game portion of our service, but welcome. And it's Youth Sunday, and let's give it up for the God Squad who led us in worship. And Mr. Jason Watson, who leads our games on Wednesday nights. So we were talking about Youth Sunday in our youth council meeting, and we decided, hey, what if we just did Wednesday night on Sunday morning? And so that's what we're doing this morning. And it's been a lot of fun, for me anyway. But good news for some of you is next week will be normal. And so that's good. But as we were talking about Youth Sunday, and we put the date on the calendar, I went back and looked at our worship planning spreadsheet and noticed that Flourish was still going on the planning sheet. So just to make sure it wasn't an error, I called Jeff into my office and said, hey, you remember that it's Youth Sunday? And so we kind of looked at the topic, and I said, well, actually, this is perfect because the title of the sermon was Positive Relationships, and I get to see positive relationships play out every week in youth ministry. And so I'm excited to celebrate those relationships today. And as we talk about those, because youth ministry by no means is about me doing things for youth. It's about a team of people building relationships and doing ministry with youth. And it's really awesome and beautiful to see when that happens. And I believe that we do it well. And so relationships are important to me. I'm a sentimental person, and I decided to change my story because I got a little choked up in the first service. So I'm going to tell you a different story about some relationships in my life. And the first being, I do have a group of friends from high school, and we have a text message group, and we're all in different places. Some still back at home, and some in Germany, and some in Florida, and me here in Tennessee. And there's 8 friends in that group from high school, and we text each other every day. And sometimes it's just something funny. Sometimes it's related to our kids. Sometimes it's a prayer request. Sometimes it's just a celebration or some information sharing. And as I talk to other people, I find that that's a rare occurrence to have that many friends involved. And in fact, this past week, we were in our message and someone said, hey, they asked me because me and Matt were best friends in high school. And they said, Jaron, when's the last time you talked to Matt? And I said, gosh, it was before Lucy was born. And Lucy just turned 8. So it's been 8 years since I talked to Matt. And we couldn't find him anywhere on social media, which is also rare for someone my age. And so we sought out his brother, and his brother's like, well, here's his number. And he's now part of that text message group. We sought Matt out and said, you can't get away from us. We want to know what's going on with you. And it's been great. So relationships are important to me. I've been blessed with some good relationships through my family, through our family network of friends. When I was in the 7th grade, a friend of ours, family friend, was playing in a rock band. He was fresh out of college. He played in a Christian rock band, and they toured all over. And they were coming to the Southeast, and I was just like in awe because I was learning to play guitar, and I had a garage band, and our garage band was practicing, and we were terrible. And but I reached out to him, and I was like, man, it's so cool. And he said, well, why don't you come with us for a weekend? And so my parents said, sure. And 7th grade, 13-year-old me got on a tour van with 5 guys, and we went South Carolina, North Carolina, and a piece of Alabama. And I spent the weekend just helping them put on shows and getting to experience that. I don't know a whole lot of people that are 21, 22 that would invite someone that's 13 along for an experience like that. And so I've been blessed with some really cool relationships and really good, deep relationships. And I believe and I hope that that's what we're cultivating in youth ministry here, is deep relationships. And so I wanted to share some experience with you from previous churches and then compare it to where we're at here at Grace and how I've seen some of these things play out. So I worked at this small church in a place called Alto, Georgia. And there's not much in Alto. It's kind of a pass-through. You might know Gainesville, Georgia, but it's a pass-through through the Helen area and into Gainesville. And there's a prison there, a state penitentiary. And that's pretty much all that's in Alto. And so there's this small little church there. And we would have around 50 people on a Sunday. And they were all tight-knit. Most of them were related to each other. And it was just this great group of people. And they had been doing ministry in the neighborhood they had 2 15-passenger vans, and they ran them twice on Wednesday nights and picked up kids in the neighboring communities and would bring them to church. So they filled them up both times. So you got a church of 50 people on Sunday morning, and they're bringing 60 kids on Wednesday night. And so when I came in, they had just been doing crowd control, is how they put it. They came and they fed them. They played some games. They let them run around. And so I was the first youth director there. and I was responsible for kids from kindergarten to college. It's a wide spectrum. And so what I found that they did really well was relationship. So the kids would get off the bus and they would walk in and they would see Polly and Charles and James and Elaine who had cooked a meal for them. And as they finished, they would go and they would sit and talk to these kids. And the first thing I noticed that I needed was help, bringing some control. And so we split them up into groups, and we would do a main session, and then we would go into groups, and they would sit down with Joy and Sherry and Ginger, and they would pour into their lives. And as I've interacted with those people, I still see that they have some involvement in that church. And the thing that brings them back is relationship. So my ministry carried me to another church that was a little bit bigger. And I sat down for my interview, and in the room, there were people who were volunteers with the youth ministry. And they shared with me all the things that they did and how they were all involved. And they sounded a little bit weary. All right, so the first Sunday rolls around, and they said, why don't you come on Sunday night, and it'll be your first thing. You can get to know the youth. So I show up, and there's 20 kids and no adults. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to get a picture of how this is run. I guess I'm going to run it. And so we just played some games and kind of got to know them. And then I found out that they had a trip coming up that I was now tasked to plan, which was a service and activity weekend. And we went to a cabin. And so I showed up and get to the parking lot, and I parked by the van, and I'm loading my stuff. And then I noticed it was a really big parking lot. But I noticed at the end of the parking lot, at the entrance, people were pulling in and just dropping their kids off. And then their kids would walk up to the van with their bag all the way across the parking lot. And so, for the weekend, if you're following along and you know the safe sanctuary policy, you see what kind of problem I'm having. And so I take these kids, 20-something kids, to a cabin. And Kristen, at the time, we had Lucy and Vera, and they were small, so she was popping in every once in a while to make sure things were going. But all in all, I was the only adult with 20 kids in a cabin. And so I came and I interviewed at Grace. And I don't know if you know about my interview at Grace, but I came and I sat in a service, and then I went and I met with Stephen at the time and Celia, and they asked me some questions, and we talked, and then I stayed for a youth council meeting. And so I saw these adults planning some programming with these kids. And then I got to church here, and I started working. And guess what? Those adults were still here. They didn't leave. 3 years later, many of them are still here. I gave Randy a hard time, but this year, right after spring break, we came back, and I told the youth, I said, hey, look around and look at the adults in the room. Not only did you come back from spring break, but they came back too. And I said, and that blows my mind. And Randy Nail said, that blows my mind too. And Randy, you'll find out in the video that we're about to play, that he's been doing this for 7 or 8 years as a volunteer. And he doesn't know why, but he keeps coming. I have a good idea why he comes. And I think it has to do with relationship. So I wanted to share some stats with you, and then we'll watch a video because I think that the youth ministry can tell you their story better than I can. And but I did want to share these notes from a book called Growing Young, and it's put out by the Fuller Institute. And they surveyed 13 different denominations, so different backgrounds, different ways of doing church. They put in 10,000 hours of research. They had 1,300 100 individual interviews with youth and adults in 40 states. So pretty diverse groups of people. Some of those churches were new church starts. Some of them were established and had their buildings of their own. Some of them were meeting in schools. Some of them were churches that had been around for 125 years or more. So they really put in the work. And this is what they found, that 1 in 3 youth that they interviewed said that personal relationships is what kept them coming back to their church. Another frequently used word in those interviews was the word warmth, that they felt warmth when they were at church. And that's not warmth from stage lights or a lot of people in the room. That's warmth from relationships. One kid in the interview even said, it's natural for me to continue to go to church there because it's like family. Deep, personal, positive relationships. And I believe that if we have a deep, personal, positive relationship with God and ourselves, then those deep, positive relationships with others come hand in hand with those things. I didn't share this in the first service, but maybe someone here needs to hear it, that if you're struggling with a relationship with yourself, it's okay to get help. And I believe that the church is the place to do that. It should be a good starting point. You know, there's a stigma involved with mental health. But when we look at the Bible and we read some of those classic stories, the stories that we teach our children, we see resources, right? David defeated Goliath with resources that were made readily available. And it's a shame that God still provides us resources, but that we're hesitant to go there and to use them. And I believe that healthy relationships can start here, and someone can connect you to where you need to be. So positive relationship with God, positive relationship with self, and positive relationships with others. Let's check out this video.
Working with the middle school youth girls, one of the biggest things I think that has surprised me is their passion and their desire to want to do good. Every week they come in here and talk about things that they've seen at school that have made them sad, and they talk to each other about how to make things better and how to bring people closer to God. And it's just amazing to see these kids that are still so young that have so much passion to make things better.
So question is, what is your favorite part of working with the youth? And my favorite part of working with the youth is learning just how smart they really are and how loving they are towards each other, and wanting to spread that love to their classmates, and encouraging them to follow Christ. So that's it.
Hey, this is Jason. I have been volunteering with the youth for, I think, 2 years now, a little over 2 years, a little less than 2 years, something like that, in the 2-year range. I serve in either make up different ways to play the games that are kind of planned, or find some different games to play. Just inspire them to have a little bit of fun and community together so that they can hang out and have some fun in this, kind of safe place. Background. My favorite part of working with the youth is, I also serve the youth by leading small group discussions
and I'm trying to get a little bit better at that because it's kind of out of my comfort zone normally. My favorite part of working with the youth is being able to be there as a kind of solid rock for them to look up to, I guess, kind of. I don't know if that's actually accurate or not, but at least I'm a stable friend.
So I'm Mindy Oldham, and I've been volunteering with Grace Youth for about 5 years. I have done lots of different things in youth ministry, and this is a typical sound if you're going to hang out around youth. His phone's going off. I do small groups, I chaperone, just kind of show up where I get the opportunity to. My favorite part of working with the youth is watching them figure out how to become grown people and take a faith that has been put in front of them. Most of our youth have had it all their life. They've been in church, and begin to make it theirs. And watching that light bulb come on. And what has surprised me about working with the youth is how often they really will engage in very real and deep discussions, and they do want to think about what's happening in the world and how they're going to navigate it, and participate in it and be examples of love. And that they really do notice the people who are around them and what's happening. Even when you think they're not listening, they're actually probably listening a whole lot more than you realize. And watching them grow into young people, young adults that contribute and carry this faith forward. There you go.
I don't know the exact number of years I've been volunteering with Grace Youth, but I'm on my third pastor, so it's been a little while. I try to serve in whatever way I can, whether that be on Wednesday nights or Sunday school or going on mission, so whatever it takes to help support the youth. My favorite part about working with the youth, especially if you've been in it for a while, is being able to see these young people mature in Christ and see and experience the love of Christ. And what surprised me about working with the youth really is their commitment to the church and to Christ and to serving Christ.
I have been volunteering with the youth for 2 years now. I'm the leader of God Squad. And the thing that surprised me about working with the youth is they want to be there. They're excited to be there. And they're excited to be helpful. And with God Squad, we have all these rehearsals, and they show up. They are there for everything. They are on time. They pay attention. It's been awesome. It's been such a blessing to work with them and so much fun. And we do it because it's fun. And so it's been a great ministry.
I have been volunteering with Grace Youth for about 2 years now. I am the co-leader of God Squad, and I absolutely love serving in the youth ministry as the leader. My favorite part of working with the youth is that they're so excited to choose music, to learn music, and to always be practicing and learning more. And it's just kind of surprised me that they're just always willing to work so hard to make sure they produce great music.
I'm Michaela, and I've been serving with Grace Youth for 4 years.
I've been volunteering with the Grace Youth for about 7, maybe 8 years now. I started when my daughter Meredith was joining the youth along with her best friend from high school, Haley Austin. And I've been involved in many different ways. During my time with the Grace Youth, I've been on the youth council, and I've done a lot of things. I've gone on some of the mission trips and had a great time with the kids. My favorite part of working with the youth has been the things that you learn from them, their perspective on the things that are going on in the world around them, the things that they enjoy doing, and hearing some of the things that they're dealing with are things that we dealt with when we were kids too. I guess one of the things about working with the youth that has been a real surprise for me is how open and honest that they are. Don't expect that all the time. So I really do enjoy working with the youth, and look forward to many more years.
My name is Kristen. I've been serving with Grace Youth Ministry for about 3 years. I've had the opportunity to be with different ages. I was able to teach the confirmation class and middle school Sunday school, and then to also be a high school leader on Wednesday nights. Something that has been really cool is seeing the relationships that our youth have with adults in the church. I was able to see a lot of really cool relationships through the confirmation class with the mentors, and that was something really special to see how the adults in our church were pouring into the lives of the 6th and 7th graders who were going through an important milestone. The high school girls always make me happy on Wednesday nights. It's a really special part of my week to know that I get to come and connect with them. And I know that the leaders that I had when I was in youth were so important in my life, and it just brings me a lot of joy to be able to be on the other side and to have these awesome relationships.
I have been volunteering with Grace Youth for the past 4 years. It's kind of cool for me because growing up, starting my sophomore year of high school, I started going to youth at Grace. So it's been really cool to experience it from both sides, as a youth and as a volunteer. I currently serve as the youth ministry team chairperson. I also lead the high school girls small group on Wednesday nights, and am pretty avid in volunteering on mission trips and winter retreats. My favorite part of working with youth is the relationships. It makes my week Wednesday nights when I come from work to see their smiling faces and just sit down and laugh and have conversations. Those relationships are really important to me, and I enjoy to continue with them on their faith journeys as I continue on mine.
So as I read through our passage this morning in Romans chapter 1, I see Paul's excitement in that letter and hope that he gets to go and visit the church in Rome. And he's excited about the things that he's hearing that the church in Rome is doing. But he doesn't want to just get over to them so that he can teach them all of these things that he's learned. But he also says, this too would benefit me to learn from you. And I don't know if you picked up on that in that video, but many of our adults said that the thing that surprised them was how much they learned by being here on Wednesdays, volunteering in youth ministry. The impact that the students have on the leaders. Positive relationships. So Jeff said in his sermon last week, he touched on and said this thing about teaching morality. And then he said that really it's about transformation, right? The work of the Spirit transforming us. And that's a verse that we continually have talked about in youth ministry. And one way that I think that transformation happens is through us coming and sharing our life experiences together and spilling out the things that we've learned onto other people in community. When we engage with one another, face-to-face, interpersonal contact. I read an article this week, and it was entitled, How to Get into the Best Mental Health Shape of Your Life. And they interviewed 7 experts on this, and one of them was Dr. Barbara Brown Taylor, who is from where I'm from in Georgia. She's an Episcopal priest and a college professor, a Bible teacher, and a writer. And what she says is pretty simple, and it was kind of a duh moment, I think, but it's really good. Like that it was from an expert in this article that the thing that she's learned and has to say is pretty simple. And it says, mandate in-person connection. Decide how often. Once a week, once every 2 weeks. You can make a list of activities on strips of paper and put them in a jar. Activities like go on a walk with a neighbor, invite someone to coffee, or volunteer. There's plenty of opportunities to volunteer here at Grace. I understand that Vacation Bible School is coming up and that we do need some volunteers for those slots. Celia is giving me a agreeing nod right now. So there's plenty of opportunities to volunteer, not only with kids and with youth, but also with your peers. Positive relationships. So Mindy Oldham and I had the honor yesterday of spending time with the people that you see in your bulletin, minus Joey. He's not pictured. But we had a chance to sit down with our graduating seniors and to talk about the next phase of their life. And one thing that Mindy said to me as we were leaving is like that she's trying not to cry because she's watched these kids grow up. And it just was a no-brainer that I invite Mindy along because she has mentored them and been in relationship with them. And so we had the honor of sitting down and sharing a meal with them and just hearing them tell stories and talk about the future. And so at this point, as we close out our service, we want to honor our graduates. We have 2 here with us. We have Ron Fair. Some of you may know him as Trey. And Taylor Warnock. So, yeah. So if you guys want to come forward. It's formality. So Trey is going to UTK in the fall. And Taylor is going to UT Chattanooga in the fall. So make sure that you see them as you leave and congratulate them as they graduate this week, Tuesday. So both of them are students at Mount Juliet High School and will soon not be students there. So, so that's a positive thing, right? So now we're going to take up our offering. So if the ushers would come and meet Mr. Charlie in the back, get your plates. Madison's going to lead us in prayer for our graduates and for our offering.
Lord, we come before you today to celebrate all that you have done in our church family. Thank you for the relationships that have allowed us to experience and enjoy, that you have allowed us to experience and enjoy in this faith journey. We thank you for these seniors who will be graduating, going on to the next stage in life. Thank you for the memories that we have with them, the trips, the laughs, the Bible study, and the tears. May the times that we have shared together go with them as they pursue goals and dreams. May we know how to love and support them as they grow there. God, surround them with good communities. May they be challenged, strengthened, and empowered to face whatever comes their way. May they remain in you and know that we are cheering them on, praying for them, and eager to hear about what you do in their lives. As we celebrate what they have offered to our church family and what they offer to this city, state, and country and world, we now lift up this prayer that our offering would be far-reaching and would impact deeply to further your kingdom. Let us pray. Lord, it's in your bulletin. Lord, you are so faithful to provide for us. We consider the birds of the air and the flowers of the field and are reminded that we are deeply loved and well taken care of. Thank you for providing for our needs. As your hands and feet in this world, may we be generous and willing to share. Bless these gifts and those who receive them, that they will serve to glorify you and make you known. Amen.
I want to magnify your light. I want to reflect the sun. Cut like precious diamonds with the colors by the millions. This is the only world we know, and for now this brings us our home. If we're gonna be a reflection, we gotta make this third rock glow, glow, glow. Just so you know. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people to illuminate the soul. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people, making music for the people. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people to illuminate the soul. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people, Jesus' music. Here we go. Light shine bright, light shine bright. Here we go. Light shine bright, light shine bright. Lights in the city might be more than pretty. That freaky shine might be more than meets the eye. Anytime you see that sparkle in the dark, you might look deeper. It might be more than simply glitter. The smile might be joy that's connected to the spirit. The spirit might be contagious if you dare come near. I remember, can't forget, piece that you can second guess. Sparkle as the light reflects the right and pay it forward checks. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people to illuminate the soul. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people, making music for the people. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people to illuminate the soul. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people, Jesus' music. Here we go. Light shine bright, light shine bright. Here we go. Light shine bright, light shine bright. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people, making music for the people. Light shine bright everywhere we go. Music for the people. Music for the people.
So that was, God Squad made that arrangement of the doxology themselves. So. Our benediction this morning is a quote from Brennan Manning. And it says, experience has taught me that I connect best with others when I connect with the core of myself. When I allow God to liberate me from unhealthy dependence on people, I listen more attentively, love more unselfishly, and am more compassionate and playful. I take myself less seriously, become aware that the breath of the Father is on my face. So as you go, may you know that the breath of the Father is on your face. Amen.